Haha, take that, you stupid molten bot.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
The Paintballer is trash.
Hell no, man.
Let's talk about it. Normally when I play TDS nowadays, I play to have fun. You know, like all video games should do. So when an event has passed or there just isn't any content in the game to be played, my definition of fun is to go in survival games and try out different loadouts and towers. This means loadouts like this. Or this. Or even this. And I know what you're thinking. Bro, these loadouts fucking suck. And yeah, but that's kind of why I like using them. You know, trying out different towers that you normally wouldn't use. Towers that are seen as bad or not meta, or even towers that were forgotten about. It's nice to stray away from towers that are meta to see how these quote-unquote bad towers are and see if they're truly bad or even underrated. Now, granted, I lose a lot of games doing this. Some of them are my fault. Like, no shit, a freezer can't defend on its own. You fucking dumbass. And by doing this, you might even find a hidden prospect. A tower that you think, oh man, more people should be using this. An example that I found recently is the electroshocker. It's not bad in any means, but it's a tower that I don't really see a lot of people use, at least in public lobbies. It's actually a really good support that can be great when the game mode you're playing has a lot of enemies that can be stunned. It's fun to use unorthodox loadouts and adapt or change your playstyle accordingly, rather than just farming. Placing accelerator. Place more accelerators. Place a commander, maybe even a DJ, and then boom, you win the game. But yeah, that's my definition of fun. And then you got Paintballer. This piece of shit. If there were any towers that I intentionally avoid using, it would be the Paintballer. There are some towers in these types of loadouts that I always try to use. A great example is the farm. At this point, farm is basically a necessity with anybody's loadout, with exceptions such as using cowboy, but other than that, 99% of the time, I try to use farm. So with that logic, I want you guys to do a complete 180 on it, and that's what I think of Paintballer. I try to get decent clips of gameplay before I make videos. As in, I just record myself playing the game casually with my definition of fun. Something I can piece together to make something watchable. And spoiler alert, I don't use the Paintballer, and I hope this video just shows you why I don't like using it and why other people don't like using it too. When is the last time you saw someone unironically use Paintballer? I just want to state that I had to go out of my way and stopped having fun in TDS in order for this video to even be possible, which is an achievement on its own because TDS is a fun game. But with that being said, I wanted to just share my experiences with this poor excuse of a tower and share my thoughts on it. So in this video, I will be reviewing the Paintballer. So, why does this tower even exist? Why does it exist? And that's a genuine question because if I was held gunpoint and was forced to say what this tower is actually good for, my funeral invitation should have been sent by now. Normally, the meta towers are really good at defending with the exception of support towers, of course. But usually, these meta towers are very good at dealing high amounts of DPS and shredding bosses. But comparing all those towers to the Paintballer is a significantly worse tower than the meta towers. I mean, I guess it's kind of unfair that I'm comparing Paintballer to towers that are at the top of the hierarchy, so I'll give it some mercy and compare it to other splash damage towers because yes, this tower is considered as a splash damage tower, which I'm guessing most people don't know this because, well, no one uses it, but I'll get into that later. So now you know that it's a splash damage tower. Okay, so maybe it's not supposed to deal high amounts of DPS, but rather specialize in area control. You know, the thing splash damage towers are for. So I mean, or at least you would assume this tower would be good at that, right? Right? Normally, most splash damage towers have a very long range. Towers like Mortar and Rocketeer are able to do high AoE damage at a distance. The Rocketeer quite literally forces you to use it at a range due to its blind spot. And then you have Paintballer. Yep, that's it. That's the range. That's how big it is. It's pathetic, I know. It really shouldn't be like this, but it is. So the range isn't even good either. So like, what even is it good for? I mean, its fire rate's not that bad. Yeah. until you realize that it does the same damage as being squirted with a water gun. And speaking of damage, the Paintballer, unlike other splash damage towers, is able to hit all enemies with the same amount of damage regardless of whether it was splash or direct hits. That sounds nice, sure. Until you realize the damage is the same as a fucking paper cut. Like, god damn, this tower sucks! And it can't even hit lead enemies either. You know, something that splash damage towers specialize in, but of course a few exceptions. Yeah, it doesn't even do that either. Oh, but it gets hidden detection. Towers like the mortar don't even get the luxury to do that. Would you really rather use Paintballer than literally any other tower in the game to deal with hiddens? Yeah, how about dealing a whopping 3 damage to each hidden enemy when you shred them to pieces with almost any other tower? That has got to be the worst trade-off I have ever seen. Good job. I guess with all of these limitations, this tower should be seen as an early game tower. Rather, a tower that new players can get before they can get the better ones. I mean, you can buy it for a low price of 100 coins. It's a perfect, cheap, and reliable tower that is meant for noobs to use. And to counterclaim that, why would you buy this over the shotgunner, the soldier? Shit, even the scout is better than this fuck-ass tower. And the scout is free! Why would you waste your coins on this? Here I was playing Fallen mode where I was getting fucking railed in the ass by these fallen guards. You know what would be so good right now? Maybe a golden scout, a cowboy. Oh well, too bad I got this thing, womp womp. Each game I played, my jealousy for other towers grew higher and higher. Aw man, that guy's an accelerator. Man, I wish I had an accelerator right now. Aw shucks, well, time to upgrade my Paintballer. You can't win them all, am I right guys? Okay, so maybe I was a bit too harsh on this tower. Like, it really isn't all that bad, you know?
Shut your stupid.
In fact, it's actually not doing so bad in these first couple of waves. Until you realize this is normal mode and it's moments before disaster, you can literally feel my anger through the screen. I hated playing this game. I mean, there has to be a reason for it to be this bad, right? Like, maybe it was, I don't know, dropped as a child or something. I don't know how that works. Maybe it got nerfed due to it being really good back in the day. Yeah, so that's not what happened. The Paintballer was one of the first towers ever added into TDS, going back to its alpha stages. Yes, alpha. Like, it's not like the Accelerator's case where he just got power crept to death. This tower just sucked, and that's that. Now, I'm not going to go over every single balance change, but all you really need to know was that this tower was just never good. For years, it has been getting clowned on. Now, what I said was a bit of a lie because it was good for like a day, for like a year ago, but they changed it a day later. I don't get it. But just to give a glimpse as to what a buffed Paintballer looked like, here is what it was like. These are clips around July of last year. It was a beast. There were a lot of balance changes like the damage, but all you really need to know is that the blast radius was increased, and oh my god, it did wonders. Look how much it is shredding these early waves right now. It was an actual viable early game tower that unfortunately got hit with the nerf wave from Paradox Games. What was the nerf, you might ask? Oh, it was nothing. Just a blast radius and the lead detection. You know, the two things splash damage towers are good at. But I am barely scratching the surface of this nerf. You see, the TDS devs thought it was a great idea to add a pierce cap. This limited the amount of enemies the Paintballer was able to hit. Now, me personally, I believe limiting something a tower specializes in is fucking stupid, especially for a game like Tower Defense Simulator, because the splash damage tower's role is literally to deal high AoE damage. This killed Paintballer, and it never returned to former glory, forcing players to never use it for good. But for the 1% of people who do use or want to use the Paintballer, fear not, as I have a very long list of recommendations. Don't use it. Just to save your time, really just don't. Like, I don't know what else to say, just don't use it. It's not good. You could be using any other tower, but nah, you decide to stay loyal, which I can respect. So if you still want to use it effectively, with quotation marks, then I actually have some tips, somehow. Just a disclaimer, however, all of these tips are very hard to reach, so if it doesn't work, well, don't blame me, blame Paradox Games for not reworking this thing. So first off, Paintballer is actually not that bad at one thing, and that's finishing crowds of enemies. Pause, that sounded wrong. What I mean is, if there are a group of low HP enemies, Paintballer is good at cleaning the dirty work. Pause again, oh my goodness. So what I recommend is to get some solid DPS towers like the Shotgunner. The Shotgunner works well here as it has a good DPS, but some enemies could leak due to its lack of range. That's when the Paintballer comes in. The Paintballer finishes the job that the Shotgunners couldn't finish. And you got yourselves a viable Paintballer strategy. Yep, we did it, guys. We found a good use for this thing. Good job, guys. Another way to use it is, well, to spam it. I know, it's boring. And you would have the same result, if not better, had you used any other damaging tower. But if this is what we have to resort to, then so be it. We are already at the territory of spam tower equals good. Paintballers are very cheap, and spamming them around the map could actually stack up a lot of splash damage. Just be careful when you use this strategy in public games though, as there's about a 77% chance your teammates will get mad at you for taking up tower space. They just don't know the true power of Paintballer, man. Gameplay aside, I really don't like the look of this thing. I don't know, maybe it's just saturated my brain for using it so much, but the model for it just looks so outdated. Like, this is the same problem I have with the medic model, but at least she's actually getting a fucking rework and not Paintballer. How the fuck is that shit fair? It just looks so stiff when it's shooting. I don't know how to explain it, and maybe I'm just picky, but I don't care. I don't like this tower. With all that being said, just hating on something isn't the recipe for success. And in order for Paintballer to succeed, it needs some balance changes. Now, surprisingly, I actually know what Paradox Games has been cooking up in regards to the Paintballer. I know what Paradox Games has in store for us behind the scenes regarding Paintballer. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy I have it, but I do. And I think the best thing I can do is show it to you guys. So, here it is. And yeah, so you're actually looking at a blank screen. I heavily doubt that Below Natural or Paradox Games will do anything with the Paintballer, or at least anytime soon. I wasn't lying when I said this tower was forgotten about. It has been here since day one, and the last balance change it had was in August 21st, 2024. It has a whopping 3 skins. Yes, 3! 2 of them are color skins, and 1 of them you can't even get anymore. And no, the green ore around the green Paintballer doesn't count. That just makes it fucking stink. However, if we lived in an alternate universe, an alternate timeline where Paradox Games didn't forget about Paintballer, then here's what I would do. First off, remove the bullshit Pierce cap. I would either remove it completely, or if they really want to keep it, at least increase the damage just to compensate for it. Second, I would probably increase the range. Maybe if the tower actually got reworked, it wouldn't need a range buff. But the range is so small, I feel like it just needs it. It's a simple change, but I think people really underestimate how much a range buff can do to a tower like Paintballer. I would also increase the damage. Paintballer already has a relatively high fire rate, and I wouldn't really change that, at least in its later levels. Increasing the damage just a tiny bit will make it be a good option compared to Mortar or Rocketeer, as their fire rate in the earlier levels is quite slow. Also, increasing the blast radius would help it very much like when it was good. This allows Paintballer to actually lean into that splash damage role rather than being trash. But if I'm being honest, guys, it really just needs a complete rework. Like, I don't know what else to say to change it from how it just is right now. I really don't know what they're gonna do with this tower. And I know this video is ending in a pretty depressing note, but it really doesn't seem like Paintballer will see itself out of the dumpsters anytime soon. And I really want it to be good, but I don't think it will. So, what am I saying? With that being said, thank you for watching. Buff Paintballer. All right, bye.